Let's talk about books in this video. Let's talk about the purpose of you reading books, and I'm also going to recommend several books that I suggest for you to read if you want to become a wealthy person in the near future. So let's get started with this video. Hi there, this is John Lexo and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be an awesome video where I'm going to talk about the importance of reading books and also suggest several books that I enjoyed reading and that have helped me a lot in building the right mindset for me to more easily attract money to me. And if you still haven't liked this video, you should go right below, click on the thumbs up. It's always helpful thing that you can do today, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can receive my weekly video updates where I share with you plenty of tips related to Kindle publishing and several ways for you to make money online. And if you still haven't got my free guide, you should do it. Just go to my website, which is jordanalexo.com. I'm going to leave the link right below in the description of this video. Get the 7-step formula how to publish your first $300 to $800 book. You just need to go to my website, put your email address over here, click on this button, and this guide will be sent directly to your inbox. And let's talk about books. Why I enjoy so much reading good books. I'm not talking about sci-fi books or romance books. I'm not saying that those books aren't exciting for you to read, but it really doesn't provide you much knowledge, especially when it comes to finances. One of the things that actually, the reason why I decided to make these videos was a few days ago I was in Quora. If you don't know, this is one of the biggest question and answer websites online where people share a lot of useful content and a lot of also ridiculous content inside of Quora. And one of the questions that caught my eye was someone asked, what was the thing that you were tired of listening people suggesting to you? And someone replied saying that they were tired of people always suggesting them to read specific books such as The Millionaire Next Door or Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill and so on. And this person concluded by saying that if reading these books was all that you needed to do to become wealthy, then everyone would be a rich person. And it kind of got me laughing because books has been one of the major tools that I've used over the years to help me develop the right mindset. It has been books and also audiobooks that I've used over the years to develop the right mindset to attract more easily money to me. And I consider books a vital thing if you want to become financially more successful in life, reading good books. And the reason why I enjoy books so much is, especially in the beginning, if you don't have much money to invest, for example, you don't have money to invest in traveling the world to watch or see seminars from wealthy people giving you tips and advice related to finances and building businesses, and you don't have money, for example, to purchase an expensive book. I mean, you always have probably 20 bucks laying around, probably under your couch or something like that, and you can go to Amazon and purchase a good book and learn a lot and get a lot of knowledge by reading these books. So this is the reason why I consider books a vital thing. And one thing that I read some time ago, I'm not sure where I read this, but someone said that one thing that he noticed, this was a person that was interviewing wealthy people around the world, and one thing this person noticed is all of the people who are extremely wealthy, they always have one thing in common, and that is a good library of books. So books is a vital thing, and if wealthy people have the habit of reading good books, then if you want to become at least more financially successful, I'm not saying that you need to become a millionaire, but if you want to become more financially successful, then reading good books is essential. You need to self-educate yourself. and actually I wrote this article. You can go to my website, read this article if you want to get more information about this. But one of the major problems about when it comes to financial education and having the right mindset for you to attract money is most people have a very bad mindset when it comes to this. And firstly, the school system doesn't teach you anything about financial education, and I consider that quite stupid because I mean, money is something that we use every single day since, I wouldn't say since we were born, but it is something that we use from a very young age, and it's something so crucial in our life. It affects our life so much, and the school system doesn't provide you any kind of education when it comes to finances. And most people come from a background where their family is probably employees, or they own small businesses, and their friends and their group of their social circle and so on kind of has the same background. And if you have this background, then it's 100% guaranteed that you have bad concepts when it comes to money and making money. Probably the common concept that a lot of people have is that money is the root of all evil, and so on. And those kind of thoughts really stop you from becoming financial successful and reaching your potential. So reading books is a vital thing. Now, I don't consider reading books the only thing that you need to do. I mean, you need to take action. You need to take action. You need to build businesses, make investments, or whatever for you to make more money. But you need to have the right mindset in order for you to do this successfully. Now, when it comes to good books, the books that I like to read is, and that I suggest for you to read, is books related to, from Robert Kiyosaki. Actually, I'm going to purchase all of his books because his books are really, really good books. And he talks a lot about financial education, about investing your money, about the difference between assets and liabilities and expenses that a lot of people don't have any kind of notion about. For example, a lot of people think that their house is an asset, and it's not an asset because it's taking actually money from their pocket and so on. And I consider Robert Kiyosaki one of the authors that you should look into his books because they are very good. The most famous one is, of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a very basic book where he talks about the difference between assets and liabilities, which I already mentioned. I also like reading this one, which is Cash Flow Quadrant, where he talks about the difference between the mindset, because he has 4 different quadrants that he considers relevant. The first one is being an employee. Employees typically have a particular mindset when it comes to making money and so on. Then you have S, which is, for example, a small business owner. Then you have B, which is a business owner. And then you have E, which is someone who invests money. You can actually be in several of these quadrants. You don't need to be exactly just in one. But the importance is he talks about the different mindsets, and that if you want to become wealthy, you need to belong, or you need to at least have a business or several investments, and you need to be in those particular quadrants. The other book that I also liked reading is called this one, and I'm still reading this book. It's called Increase Your Financial IQ. It talks about the several intelligences that you need to have in order for you to keep your money, such as making more money, how to protect your money from financial predators, so once you have money, you don't lose all of your money and so on. So I recommend for you to go to Amazon and get books from Robert Kiyosaki. Get all of his books because all of his books are pretty good, and that is basically what I'm doing nowadays. And of course, I had to talk about Napoleon Hill, the famous book Think and Grow Rich. Now, Think and Grow Rich is not a book that I actually enjoy nowadays, but I still had to mention this because this was one of the first books that I read a few years ago, about 7, 8 years ago. This was one of the first books I read related to this type of content of having a wealthy mindset, a rich mindset, and so on. And this was the first book that I read, and it drastically changed my way of thinking and lifestyle back then. It got me thinking about, for example, I got the idea that every single big company in the world started by an individual or a group of individuals that thought differently from all of the rest. They had an idea, they went out there, they built their own company and became extremely rich. And this book really helped me seeing that kind of or having that kind of idea, which I simply didn't have back then. But the reason that I don't like this book nowadays much, I'm not saying it's a bad book or anything like that. If you still haven't read this book, I suggest for you to do it. But the reason I don't like this book nowadays is because I tried to read it a few months ago, and I consider that it has way too much fluff talk. It just doesn't go straight to the point. And since since the first time I read this book, I have read hundreds of books since then. So I didn't like reading this book the third or the second time around or whatever it was. And I consider it quite slow paced, but it's still a good book, which I suggest for you to read because it will most probably change the way that you think about money and having the right mindset and so on. Now, let's talk about Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is one of my favorite authors and speakers. I really enjoy Jim Rohn a lot. And about 2 years ago, I was watching a webinar, and someone told along that webinar, I actually don't remember anything about that webinar, but someone said that if you listen to Jim Rohn for a whole year, that you will start thinking differently and your lifestyle will inevitably change. And I didn't believe much in what this person said, but I didn't have much to lose, and I did exactly that. I basically, during 9 months, every single day I listened to Jim Rohn, especially to this audio that is called the Power of Ambition. It's an audio that you can probably find for free in YouTube, and I suggest for you to do this because Jim Rohn really provides not just when it comes to finances, but a lifestyle that life philosophies that will help you a lot along your life, not just with money, but with everything else. And one of the books that I enjoyed reading was called The 5 Major Pieces of the Life Puzzle, which is basically this book over here. It is a book it's a short book that I probably read 15 times or even more. And it shares with you some very basic life philosophies that will help you a lot when it comes to attracting more money and living a more balanced lifestyle. The other book that I liked a lot was from Alex Becker. I actually like Alex Becker. I sometimes go to his YouTube channel, watch his videos. When I got this book, and actually I have over here, when I actually got his book, I wasn't expecting much from Alex Becker because he's a famous guy. I was expecting that he was probably going to he just wrote this book to promote some product services. Sometimes they do actually do this, but that wasn't the case. This is a very, very good book. And I would say the reason why I like this book so much is because Alex Becker focuses more in being an online entrepreneur, having businesses online, and that is something that you won't find with Jim Rohn and other publishers or authors over here, even though Robert Kiyosaki has his business online. But it talks more about that. And when it comes to building online businesses, there are distinct problems that you have compared to having a brick and mortar business and so on. And the 10 pillars, he basically talks about the 10 different mindsets that you need to build in order for you to attract more money and have successful businesses. And it's a very, very good book. It's nearly 200 pages. It's a book that you can easily read in a few days. For example, the 9th pillar: people give money to people that get people, and so on. So there are several philosophies that he shares over here that will help you a lot in building the right mindset. This is a very good book. I even consider this book one of probably would be the modern age Think and Grow Rich when it comes to online businesses. It's a very, very good book. The other book that I enjoyed reading was from Anik Singal. This is a good book also that I suggest for you to check it out. It's this one over here, actually. It's a very good book. And it talks about, he shares his story along his book and the difficulties that he had along his journey in becoming a financially successful person and entrepreneur. And his book is called Escape. And he says that the traditional way of thinking about what an entrepreneur is actually something that may be harmful for you. For example, the thought of an entrepreneur is someone who takes huge financial risks and so on in building their businesses. And that traditional idea may actually be harmful, because sometimes what happens is, if you have this idea that an entrepreneur is this type of individual, once you have a business that probably is not profitable, you still are putting you are still putting money and risking your money and losing your money in a business that simply isn't making any kind of money, simply because you have this idea about what an entrepreneur is. And there's a lot of concepts that he crushes inside of his book, and also a lot of good ideas that he shares along his book. So those are basically the 5 books that I suggest for you to check out. First one is, this is more than just 5 books, but I suggest for you to check Robert Kiyosaki. It's probably one of the best authors when it comes to providing information about financial education and educating yourself financially. And Napoleon Hill, if you still haven't read it, I recommend for you to check it. It's like the Bible when it comes to the rich mindset, or whatever you want to call it. I suggest for you to at least read it once. Some people enjoy this book so much that they basically spend their entire life reading this book, but that is not my case. Jim Rohn, I also like a lot. You can check this book. You can also check his audiobook, which is The Power of Ambition. I believe you can find this completely free inside of YouTube. You just need to check it around. Alex Becker, another really great book that I suggest for you to check it out. And also the last one is this book called Escape by Anik Singal. Okay, those are all of the books that I recommend for you to check it out and just read them. You will notice that if you read these books slowly but surely, your mindset will start changing. You will start seeing things in a different way when it comes to making businesses and basically attracting money to you. These books are very helpful when it comes to changing the way that you think about money. As I already said, firstly, when it comes to financial education, the school system, the people around you usually don't do a good work when it comes to that. And the only way for you to develop the right mindset is by self-educating yourself, by reading this type of books. Okay, that is all for this video. If you still haven't liked this video, you should do it. Go right below, click on that thumbs up. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you still haven't got my free guide, just go to my website, Go over here, put your email address, and get this free guide so you can learn how you can publish books inside of Amazon and do a good amount of money. That is all for now. Stay there, stay tuned with Jordan and Alexo, and bye.